How's it going, guys? It's Nathan from Nathan's DIY Garage, and today we're going to diagnose a transmission, automatic transmission, on a 1998 BMW 528i. Okay, so we have the car outside running. This is a 98 528 with the 4L30E, and this is the GM transmission. Now, what this car is doing is when you start it up and you go to put it in drive or reverse, it takes a long time for it to engage. You start it up, put it in reverse, and you have to wait a few seconds, 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, and finally it clicks in. So we've seen this before. We went and drove it, and it didn't have a problem when we first got this car. It just developed this problem. Went and drove it, and it's normal for the GM transmission not to want to shift on cold, but this one doesn't want to really shift ever. It takes so long to shift, and of course I wasn't romping on it, but it'll go 1 to 2 real easy, and it'll hold second for a long time. You let out the gas and it'll go into third. Never to slip, it just has a trouble shifting, right? So we know the filter and the fluid has been changed about 2 years ago. We don't know what fluid they used. The car's been sitting, so it's questionable. What we're going to do today, we're going to go ahead and go out there and check the transmission fluid level first, and we're going to see if it's low. Problems like that could be from low, or something could be stopped up in the filter, or it could be the wrong fluid. Okay, so this is what we did here. We jacked it up. There was a couple tricks to this. I parked the car on kind of an incline like this, right? So I jacked it up. The tires aren't off the ground. You can see the tires are still on the ground. All I want to be able to do is reach my arm under the driver's side door and get the fill plug out. We don't have to get under the car to do this, to just check it or add to it. So we're going to go ahead and get our pump, and we're going to go ahead and get our whatever socket we need here. I have to look on this one. I don't remember. I think it's an Allen key. We'll come back here just a second and I'll show you for sure. Alright, so we got out of the car, had a hard time getting the plug out, had to use the Craftsman impact. You can see it laying down there, and even had to struggle getting it out. So it's cranked down pretty tight, so we'll focus. You can see there's no washer on it at all. It's supposed to have aluminum washer or even a copper washer. It has nothing. You can see on the oil pan where it's seeping. So at this point, no fluid ran out, and the car is pretty much perfectly level. We're going to go ahead and pump some fluid in and see what we got. I can tell by smelling the fluid, it is Dextron. That's not good. Dextron will work. It seems like it tends to make them have issues. It's a lot thinner fluid, a lot different makeup. It doesn't have the protection what a lot of the other thicker stuff does. Okay, so we don't use Dextron. On the GM, on the ZF, pretty much anything except for CVT, we use this Castrol Transmax import multi-vehicle. There's 2 different kinds. One's an import, one's not. If you don't, Dextron smells like regular transmission fluid. So I use this in all the power steering stuff and all the transmissions on all the BMWs. Pretty much any German car, this stuff works great. So we're going to go ahead and start pumping fluid and see how much it's low. Before we start pumping, I'll go ahead and show you. Front of the driver door, and you can see, maybe you can see, yeah, right there's the transmission pan. This is the driver's side to the rear of the pan. Right there's where I had the plug out, and then of course on the bottom, right there is the drain plug. So we'll go ahead and just use our little hand pump here and see what we got. Hey guys, if you can hear me or not, we're under the car. So we put 2 quarts in it, and you can see it's just barely dripping, and there's just my finger in there and it's full. You want it full to the rim. We're going to go and reinstall the plug and get it torqued down. Okay, so we just torqued the plug down. You don't want to go very tight with that. Probably 20 foot-pounds is it. Yeah, it's a big thing. It'll take a lot more torque, but you might have a real hard time getting that off. So we put both these quarts in it. I had about a quarter of another quart. We added all that to it, and it's just now barely full. So basically how these run on the GM or on the ZF transmission, back up so you can hear me for sure. A quart low is danger level. A quart and a half low is probably destruction. 2 to 2 1/4 quarts low, if I would have floored it, that probably would have been it. It probably would have snapped it. It would have busted the D drum. It would have made it slip and ruin the clutch pack. Many different things happen in there. So we're going to go ahead and take this thing for a run and see what it did. Okay, so we took it for a drive. Still didn't fix it. So it won't shift at all. It'll go from 1 to 2 and it'll just hang, right? and I didn't want to step on the gas real hard because we know what'll happen if I do that. It'll just break everything. We just kind of baby the RPMs up to like 4.5 and let off, and usually that'll make a transmission shift no matter what. It still wouldn't shift, so the only way to actually make it shift is to take the shifter, and when we're going through the gears, you know, say we're in drive, right? And we'll rev it up, we'll have it up to like 4 grand, and if I go down to 3 and back up, it'll shift, and then it'll shift on the 4th. Now if I leave it like this, I come to a stop, I go take off real easy again, it'll hang in the top of second, and won't shift out of second. I'll do the same thing again, it'll shift and it'll drive fine. So obviously there's something sticking, probably one of those solenoids, and probably what needs to be done is the valve body needs to be taken off. Well, first of all, we need to change the filter in it, we need to change the fluid. I don't think that'll fix it though. I think what it seems like it has is something stuck in the solenoid. The solenoid's not working right, it has garbage stuck in it. It could be a valve in there, it could have grit in it, it could be stuck. There's many different things. So what we're probably going to do, start with, we're going to go and change the fluid and filter in it. That's like $50. That sucks too, because if the transmission is scrap, you just threw $50 plus bucks at it. There's not really much you could do, you just have to do that. That's the first line of defense. Probably what I'll do, I'll go ahead and pull the valve body out when I change that and take a look at it. See if I can find something else on Google that somebody else had the same problem. Find somebody that says, yeah, I had this problem, this fixed it. That's what you want to look for. So we'll do our research before we touch anything on it. And the GM transmission, you guys know the GM transmission in the United States don't have a very good reputation. 460 LE, 700R4, they're freaking junk. This is a 430, the 30E or whatever the hell, 4L30E. They seem like they're pretty good transmissions, but I do know for a fact, you go take these apart, they're put together cheaply. When you go to take the solenoids out, they have roll pins holding them in, all kinds of weird shit. The ZF transmissions, a lot of people don't like those transmissions, but I do, because they're easy as hell to rebuild. You cannot get an easier transmission to rebuild. Dropping the valve body is super freaking easy. You cannot ask for an easier valve body to work on. You know, you can take it out, what is it, 6 or 8 bolts. All the bolts that hold the ZF valve body in are bigger, so you know what to do. You drop it out, put it on the workbench, take it apart one valve at a time, clean it all out. Everything's easy, nothing to it. This GM transmission, it's not the same way. It's kind of a pain in the ass. So if we have to do that, we'll definitely put a video up of taking this valve body apart for you guys. A lot of you guys that had these cars up to, what, 99, I think, mid-year 99, later 99, they changed it to the ZF box. And a lot of you guys probably definitely for sure like to see that video on how to take that apart, so we'll definitely get it up for you. That's all for today. I'll quit babbling on, and hope you guys like the video, and see you tomorrow.